biglang nung na-realize nila, hindi, farm na lang tayo.
Farm na lang tayo.
Then nalaman na nila. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, bago tayo mag-start, this tournament is of course presented by our official tournament telco partner, Smart. Free to game, great with smart free games for all. Ngayon, ang tanong, kaya nilang magamit yung kanilang pagiging smart sa drafting phase as we are now heading to the draft ng game number 2. What are we expecting right now, TDC? Tingin mo?
Tol, tingin ko, ano dyan, yung mga buffed heroes pa rin. Sylvana, tingin ko, hindi pa rin lalabas yan.
Oo.
YSS, kasi bukod sa ating local scene, since nagbi-build up pa rin tayo ng mga meta, since alam naman natin na every start of the league, yung first series up to second series, doon may kita yung kung paano mag-shape yung meta eh. Pero nakita natin kanina dito, double tank, possible with a big question mark.
Yeah.
Nga ba ang side dito ng Execration? Pero still the same bans for both teams. They're removing all of those assassins na Assassin/Roamer na talaga malalakas this meta.
Yeah, actually, yung nawala nga na naman dito, Assassin/Roamer, which is Natalia. Oo, na ayaw talaga, no? Kanina pa binaba ng Execration. PDZ, na-mention mo sa akin yung mga pwede nating makita right now dito sa draft. Pero I wanna talk a little bit doon sa game number 1 pa din. Nabanggit mo na parang baka pwede atang palitan yung Valier.
Oo, yan. Kasi yung Valier kanina, yes, he can dish out damage. Nakapag-dish out siya, makapag-spam siya ng first skill niya. But unfortunately, with the tanks in front, kapag nalapitan ka agad ng Tortoise Puissance, ni Baksha, mapo-force ka na gamitin mo kaagad yung push mo eh.
Yung push mo,
di
ba?
Agad eh. Kaso yun lang din, kapag hindi available yung first skill mo, mahihirapan ka. Parang you can be there on the fight. Pero kapag cooldown lahat yung skills mo, mahihirapan ka. Hindi enough yung utility niya, yung skills niya to dish out that much damage na hinahanap para sa Omega.
Even though masakit ang isang Valier, pero parang kung iisipin mo yung mga projectile, mabagal.
Pati sobrang mobile din naman kasi ng mga core heroes. Again, Claude, sabi mo kanina yung kay Lunox, Order of Brilliance, sabi rin ni Mitty kanina, ang daling iwasan ng mga skills sa side ng Omega. So, well, going back to the question, tingin ko, Valier, they can change that. 3 mages, I think it's enough. Pero gusto ko makita yung 4 mages composition na maging successful. Pero kung magde-delegate sila ng kahit isang tank, I think Hylos will be good. Or maybe Hylos plus Valier. Magpalit sila ng isa pa, which is really common. Sa side din ng Execration, nakikita natin yung before. Mas maging effective yung composition nila. Meron silang way to get out of the fight using the glorious pathway, at meron din silang tanky heroes na mag-absorb ng damage.
Baka pwedeng ang Hylos or any other tank na meron ngayon.
Indeed.
Ngayon, ang tanong, TDZ, since nabanggit natin yung expectations, baka nga mag-change na this time ang Omega ng lineup nila. Kasi Omega is known na kapag natatalo ng Game 1, ang ganda ng nagiging adjustment to the point na nakakambak nila yung series.
Totoo. Kung baga parang testing the waters. Pwede na sabihin na testing the waters dito sa side ng Omega Esports na, okay, hindi nag-workout yon, punta tayo sa plan B. Or try to make it work but in a different playstyle. So yun yung nakikita ko dito sa Omega Esports. Because hindi naman nila pipiliin yun kung hindi talaga effective eh. Kung hindi nila napag-aralan talaga yung buong playstyle, yung buong draft na yun.
For sure, they're really known na maggawa dito ng mga hybrid types of lineups and composition. Then again, TDZ, here we go. You have the Cho Paquito for Execration. Are we looking at another Kelra special dito sa side lane? Dahil wala dito yung mga heavy side laners.
Natanggal din yung Paquito, pero isa sa mga nakikita ko, Thumbs, Terizla, isa sa mga malalakas na gusto kong makita. Gusto kong makita kasi nakikita ko effective ang Terizla when it comes to pushing out lanes and more of a team fight oriented. Yun nakikita kong composition dito ng Execration.
Ito yung isa sa mga heroes na since nagkaroon ng changes sa meta, sa update, baka makita natin. Baka makita natin, which is probably pwedeng gamitin nga ng Execration. But then again, the flavor ngayon ng meta, Matilda opening for Exe. It is going to be in the hands of Itomax or Chaknu. Meanwhile, Omega starting out strong here.
Ito yon.
You have a Jawhead and you have the Yishun Shin. Napapa-eto yun ka, TDC.
Tol, kasi jungle control ang unang nakikita ko dito sa side ng Omega Esports. Nakita natin, YSS with the Retribution, isa siya sa mga heroes na sobrang bilis maka-clear out ng jungle creeps.
Yes.
And also with the with the Jawhead, pwede rin niyang kontrolin or possible early steal ng mga buff ng mga jungle area dito sa side ng Execration.
Especially with the new brush doon sa may purple buff. And I agree with you, TDZ. It's all about the jungle control, the jungle invasion para dito sa Omega. And Hajizi is also known to play one hell of a Yishun Shin.
Yeah.
Isa talaga siya sa like kahit nakapikit, kaya niya mag-in out, in out. And this time, nandito pa si Heat. Nung nakausap ko last time, TDZ, ang kanyang main na nahihirapan daw na kalaban sa tank role ay from other region na si Leo Murphy. Which is laging ginagamit ang Jawhead. So ngayon, may part sa akin na iniisip na baka makita tayo ng Heat specialty naman with the Jawhead.
Nako, napakalaking opportunity yan dito sa Omega Esports. At nako, Kuya Manjin, mukhang kaya yata doon. Uranus ang pick dito ng Omega Esports. Tingin ko talaga mobile heroes ang pinipili dito ng Omega Esports.
TDZ, ang tagal na wala nitong Uranus sa meta natin and ngayon lang natin ulit makikita to. Ito yung mga ginagamit ng mga uncle natin na kahit pindot-pindot lang, napakakunat.
At kung gusto ko makita yung battle spell dito ni Uranus.
Pero eventually, base sa mga nakikita ko lower tournaments and rank games, may part na kaya nang ma-burn down ang Uranus. Bakit? Dorans, may back siya, tapos may mga sustained damage from the Alice. So, ano ngayon ang pinaplano ng Omega with this Uranus pick?
Tingin ko they will stick to that early game play style. Nakikita natin dito na si Uranus pwede siyang gawing offlane. He can easily push or sustain the lane rather with this Radiance passive. Hindi niya kailangan umuwi. Para siyang walking well, tol. Para siyang walking...
ang tanong, is Uranus back? Yun ang tanong. Kasi ako, I highly doubt. Again, I highly doubt the hero right now. Pero since this is Omega, baka they will prove us wrong dito sa pick na to. Kasi TDZ, looking at the Matilda, looking at the Baksha, and the Alice, ang taas ngayon ng DPS damage and ng sustain ng Exe. Healing from the Alice, Baksha defense, may shields ka pa from the Matilda. Ano pang hanapin mo?
Tingin ko kailangan ng Omega Esports dito yung mga burst heroes. Since ang ganda na ng sustain nila, meron silang Uranus. Medyo risky nga kasi pinili na ng Execration dito yung Baksha plus the Alice . Alice, siya yung mga hero na innate na naghahawak or nag-purchase ng Necklace of Durance. So it is a really risky pick dito sa side ng Omega Esports, but I think they have a plan on top of this. Sobrang mobile ng first 3 picks dito ng Omega Esports. They just need to get at least one more hero na pwede mag-burst. Sino pa bang mga heroes na pwede gumawa ng ganon? Lunox. Meron silang Farsa. However, Lunox has been banned here by Execration, so they knew na yun ang kailangan nilang gawin. Burst sustain.
Kakasabi mo lang, TDZ Kakasabi mo lang Mga burst mages ang mawawala. So inaabangan ngayon ng Exe, probably a Farsa. Siguro yung Eve is also available sa pool natin. But there you go. One of the burst heroes there is the Eudora on the side of Omega.
Yep, I completely agree. Since ang taas na rin ng front lines, ng protection ng front lines dito sa Omega Esports, with the burst damage from Eudora, I think they can make this one work. Pero, tol, itong Eudora nito, hindi pa rin siya enough Tingin ko hindi pa rin siya enough.
Tingin mo?
Yeah, kailangan nila ngayon ng isa pang AOE kasi most of the skills dito ng Omega Esports is really good when it comes to solo heroes. Smart missiles, yung blood floods dito ni Yisun Shin, and also using the passive as well for using the Heavenly Vow, plus yung Uranus, hindi sila AOE, hindi sila
AOE heavy
Kailangan nila ng isa pa. At tingin ko isa pang mage hero probably.
Isang mage hero sa Omega, pero actually napauwa ko dito sa Exe. Because it is now the Ling. Na gagamitin ngayon ni Kiao BJ. Tapos meron pang kasunod na Eve na nasa likod. So ang taas ng range this time ng Execration, nawala yung Ling sa lineup, nawala yung Ling sa meta. But I think with the help of the Little Wanderer, ay baka pwedeng bumalik nga to.
Yun, indeed. Lahat ng energy, ng mana, mas mabilis mag-refill, mga kaibigan. And also with the rotation from the 15% movement speed kapag nasa well ka, pag nasa river ka, ang bilis ng rotation yan. Also with Eve, the real-world manipulation, once nasa loob ka ng real-world manipulation, yung parang chessboard,
Yeah.
at kapag tumama ka sa gilid, that's 90% slow. And that is enough for EXECRATION or si KLVJ na makahabol using his sling.
This is interesting. EXECRATION with the sustained burst. I think gumawa sila ng risk dito with the Ling. But you have Omega Esports with that last pick. Hayabusa. This is classic Omega we're seeing, TDZ. You also have the Uranus na nagbabalik. Is it Season 3? Ay, Season 5?
Parang ganun yung feeling eh, no?
Season 5 ba ngayon?
Tapos meron pang Hayabusa ulit. And also yung Uranus talaga, gusto kong makita kung ano ang performance dito ni Uranus when it comes to this current matchup from EXECRATION. Pero tol, Manjin, tingin ko dito ang Omega Esports, they're heavily relying on ganking and pick-offs. Since most of their heroes are really good kapag sa mga solo heroes.
It's all about the pick-offs for OMG. And you have the 5v5 Royal Rumble capabilities para dito sa side ng EXECRATION. It is the debut of this hero. Eve is now in MPL. And here we go. Paunahan na naman sa wave clear, TDZ. But look at this.
Inuna ka agad dito yung purple buff. At sabi natin kanina, si Heath with the Jawhead, he can easily disrupt the purple at i-ejector niya lang yung purple buff dito. At habang naghahanap din ng purple buff yung OMG. At tingin ko, Lito Wanderer talaga. Since iisa lang yung Lito Wanderer, siya ang magiging priority other than the orange and the purple buff.
Ibang klase dito yung ginawa ng OMG. May napansin ako sa OMG ha. May meta sila ngayon, TDZ, na wave clear agad. Kahit anong mangyari, unahin yung wave para sa Lito.
Tingin ko kaya
ganun yung ginawa eh.
Kaya pala ang play sa nila dito 1-3-1 para first wave clear. Puwersa agad sa Lito Wanderer.
Puwersa agad tapos ginamit dito yung Jawhead. Ngayon ang tanong, how important is that delay na ginawa ngayon ni Heat kay KLVJ? Kuya TDZ.
Tingin ko dito, napakalaking bagay kasi madidisable mo kaagad si KLVJ moving around the area, but I think he was successful taking it in.
Yeah.
Pero, may iiwan siya sa level. KLVJ, he just hit his level 4 and compared with the solo pressure na pwedeng ibigay dito ng OMG, that is already enough. Hajizi also got his level 4, so meron agad silang vision kung nasan si KLVJ. And look at the minimap, Kuya Manjin.
Ano yun?
Pressure kaagad ng OMG, lahat, almost yung pwestuhan dito ng OMG, dalawa sa middle lane, dalawa sa bottom lane, because after using the Mountain Shocker, meron silang idea kung nasan si Kiel.
Alam nila, no? So talagang tinitignan ngayon ng Omega si Kiel. Actually, ako tumitingin ako ngayon kay Heat, kasi eventually kapag meron ka talagang Jawhead in your lineup, gusto mo na makakuha ka ng vision. Gusto mo na makakuha ka ng scout para alam mo kung saan magpa-farm yung mga kalaban mo. There you go, there's ejector for the Eve! And hindi na tumama yung Thunder's Wrath. Nice! Purify from Etomax to get out of the way.
Ang ganda ng pagkaka-purify niya doon and also utilizing his mobility or with the lack of the mobility. Pero, tol, nakita mo doon level 2 pa lang si Heath. Magkaka-level 3 niya lang.
Yeah.
Lalo kapag nagkaroon siya ng additional points sa kanyang smart missiles, we are expecting a lot of burst damage from OMG.
So talagang alam, this time yung OMG, pare, pumapasok dito yung sinabi mo. Pick off, pick off, pick off. Use the ejector, use the lightning ball from Haze. This time, EXECRATION, sasagot sila. There you go, real world manipulation para kay Etomax dito, but the turtle has been slain. Para kay Hajizi, but the king is coming in with the Tempest of Blades. But Hajizi, right now siya tumatakbo. Dalawa na nawala para sa side ng Exe. May ejector na naman. Renjo soaking in all of the damage. Mapapagamit siya dito, of course, ng kanyang Revitalize as Renjo will just back off. Toshi, napapasok dito. Toshi with a kill. Circling Eagle. Oh, no!
Oh! Yun ang magandang opportunity kaya nakakuha sila ng Matilda. Kahit saan ka pumunta, even with the Quad Shadows, once na-click ka ng Circling Eagle, hahabulin ka ni Matilda.
Wow!
Also with the burst damage from his skill 1 and also KLVJ, inabsorb, hinati. Dito yung Uichi Shadow Kill.
Yeah.
At kita natin dito, yung nangyari kanina sa fight sa turtle area, nakita ni Heath na gumagamit siya ng real world manipulation and also with the damage from the smart missiles, they're able to...
Kaya napagamit kagad, TDZ, but holding that thought, nagkaroon tayo ng team fight dito. Medyo heavy yun kasi that time nawala si Heath in exchange for Kelra, and dahil doon sa nangyaring teamfight na in-explain mo lang ngayon, parang nakabalik na kagad ang Exe. Look at this!
Wow!
Napaka-aggressive ng EXECRATION. Pumasok hanggang doon sa second tower. At nako, mukhang na-disrupt ngayon ng OMG. But eto, Max will pay for the price. Meanwhile, Toshi just doing the classic Omega things, splitting up the map and pushing the tower in the top lane. So yes, naging aggressive ngayon ng Exe, pero parang bitin pa rin.
Bitin pa rin
parang
talaga.
Mas OMG pa rin ngayon na nagko-control ng laban.
Indeed, I completely agree. At nakikita natin dito sa may net worth, 13.8, almost 14K. Pero ang ginagawa din ng Omega, control the purple buff as early as possible. Huwag nating bigyan ng purple buff dito si KelVJ para ma-stop at least yung kanyang power spike.
Yung power spike na mukhang makikita na natin ngayon as Kelra will actually take down Haze. Actually, si Eto Max pa yun, pero eto na. Si KelVJ, siya lang mag-isa dito. Let's see Tempest of Blades, pero madadash out to. Pero kailangan na ni Jack no pumunta. KelVJ with again another risky play. Wow! EXECRATION now taking control of the turtle.
Ang ganda ng pagka-prioritize dito ng EXECRATION. Nakita natin na okay, humahabol dito si GZ. That's the main priority. But look at this, circling eagle na naman at KelVJ magiging next target. Mukhang makakatakas dito si Kel.
Tuloy-tuloy ata yung aggression dito pare, no? Kel!
Wow!
Wow! Surviving!
Ang lupit doon, tol, ni Chakno, yung guiding wind niya, giving additional shield para kay KelVJ na makatakas.
The guiding wind with the soul bloom. The Jack Mamba with the assist, pare. Napakalupit. What a play to save his ally. Poging-pogi si Chakno doon, malamaster.
Wow, ibang klase. Talagang hinanap niya, hinintay niya muna. Sige, dito pumunta with the guiding wing. Shook, merong additional shield. Nakatakas at nakatakas agad with the movement speed. At yun yung kailangang itignan ng OMG. Kasi dapat malaman nila kung nasan si Chakno. It's either take down Chakno as early as possible or burst down KelVJ instead.
Speaking of burst, gusto nilang i-burst kaagad si Renjo dito. Actually, Omega, I think they're fully aware, TDZ, na kailangan laging online yung teamfight. Hindi pwedeng nagpapahinga yung teamfight nila as KelVJ is now falling low. And men, I think nakaligtaan na rin natin pag-usapan. Yes, maganda yung pinapakita ng Exe dito. But look at Kurt TZ right now. The Uranus with 0 deaths.
Wow.
TDZ, tinanong kita kanina kung nagbabalik na ba yung hero na to. Mukhang sinasabi ng Omega, oo.
Tol, kaya. Brute Force Breastplate plus the Oracle. Ang bilis niya kaagad makapunta sa mga teamfight. And look at this, talagang hinaharang niya na binabasok niya ni Chakno and also Renjo. And it's really courageous. Pumasok siya sa loob ng real-world manipulation.
Yeah, tumama nga lahat ng Mountain Chakra doon sa real-world manipulation. But again, OMG, napakakunat pa rin nila. Kelra is down for 10 seconds. But wow! Oh, man, ang aksyon ng laban na to, hindi ko na malaman kung saan ako titingin. Ang tinitignan ko na lang, sino ba nakakuha ng tamang trade? Sino ba nakakuha ng mas magandang trade? And I think halos lahat napupunta sa Omega eh.
Lahat. I completely agree sa positioning, sa trade-ups, sa prioritization ng mga heroes na tinatarget nila, kuhang-kuha dito ng OMG. But we need to keep in mind, EXECRATION, na kapag si KelVJ nakahanap ng isa pang core item on top of the Demon Hunter Sword, mas mahihirapan dito ang Omega pag tumapat na naman tayo sa late game.
Pwede makabalik TDZ, no? Pero I think bilang isang co-marksman myself, I can therefore say pare na pag nag-miss si KelVJ dito ng burst para kay HGZ, kayang-kayang patumbahin ng Yihun-Shin ng link.
Indeed.
Oo, but again, malalaman natin yan kung mangyayari man yan as Team OMG is still putting on the aggressive movements, ruthless aggression. Ang kanilang pinapakita nila, parang hindi nila pinapahinga yung Exe.
Hindi talaga nila papahingahin yan kasi ganun talaga yung composition dito ng OMG. They need to go for the ganks, they need to always continue with the fight kasi kapag nakahanap na magandang checkpoint dito ang EXECRATION at na-counter sila parang ganito. Nako, mahihirapan dito ang OMG within the next 5 minutes or within the next 2 minutes or so. At
parang kanina pag ginagawa dito yung mga guiding wind, no? Kelra now coming in. Here comes it. Napakaganda Thunder Strat. And there you go, the real world manipulation na mula lahat sa side ng OMG pero lumabas sila.
Nako.
Lumabas sila dun sa chessboard, tol.
Tol, hindi talaga nila kailangan makipaglaban dun sa loob ng chessboard kasi kapag nandun sila with the counts from Eto Max's ultimate, mauubos at mauubos sila doon. Kapag ini-swipe mo kasi yung tol, yung real world, slow.
Super slow yun eh.
Kasi pag pag mo naman, damage, napakasakit.
Kumbaga kung ihalin tulad mo sa totoong buhay, yun yung mga tropang kagawad na nakalinya. Naglalagay dito ng caution, lockdown kami. Pero sabi ng OMG, hindi. Lalabas kami. Hindi kami pwede magstay dyan. Hindi kami pwede mag-quarantine dyan.
Box out dun, tol.
Oo.
Nako, yun ang nagiging playstyle dito ng EXECRATION. And look at the items here, ladies and gentlemen. Enchanted Talisman para kay Kelra. At si Kelra ang hero na di natin gaano napapansin.
Oo, sumasakit na din ha.
Sumasakit na rin.
Ang sinasabi mo pala dito, TTZ, yes, may dead si Kelra dito, but that is an Alice. So, ibig sabihin dito, TTZ, ang gusto ng Exe is doon mangyari yung laban sa loob ng manipulation na yon. Kasi gusto nila tabi-tabi sila.
Totoo yan. At alam din ng OMG na okay, lamang sila sa teamfight. Tingnan mo naman, si Kelra, sinigurado ni Chakno na bago siya ma-ejector dito ni Heath, nagamit na yung kanyang guiding wind. So kahit sobrang layo niya, pwede agad siyang pumunta doon kay Chakno for that more
So ang ibig sabihin ba nito, TDZ, is hindi na kagad makaka-pick off ang OMG? Kasi parang ganun yung nangyari. Sa last 2 team fights na nakita natin, yes, nakakawala ang Omega, pero yung mga attempts nila ay unti-unting nag-fail.
Indeed, kasi aware na rin ng EXECRATION dito na, okay, kapag meron na iwang isa, kayang-kayang i-burst kaagad ng OMG. It's either by Toshi or it's either by Hajizi. So respect ang ginagawa dito ng EXECRATION.
Respeto, Ricardo. Sama-sama puwersa. There you go. Real world manipulation sa bayong Vlad Odd sa loob. Kelra, ladies and gentlemen, with the Vlad Odd. Nako, Toshi ngayon na magiging main target. Kelra, inaabot siya. Oh, flowing blood. And sabay second skill. Toshi, napagamit na ng blades. Pero nakuryente na nga. Oh no. 2 heroes are now down for OMG. Kelra also. Kakamagit mo lang, Tads. Flowing blood in. Double kill na rin. Mounting Chacarino. Mapapatumba si Kelra. But still, 3 na yung napatumba. 10-10 is the scoreline. Lamang ang OMG. We have ourselves a great ball game, TDZ.
Indeed. At nakita naman natin, Hajizi, unti-unti na siya nakakaroon ng kanyang items. Endless battle pickup for this guy. 215 ang kanyang KDA. And also BOD. So masakit na talaga ang damage dito. Especially using the passive, the Heavenly Bow. Kapag nakahanap siya ng magandang positioning dito, it's kahit si KelVJ, kailangan niya laging gamitin or keep in mind kung bago niya gagamitin kanyang ultimate to get out of the fight. So parang parang double-sided coin yan eh. It's either gagamitin mo yung ultimate mo pang aggressive para mahuli si Hajizi. Pero after using your ultimate, you need to make sure na mapapatay mo si Hajizi in a burst.
Yeah, ang hirap din kasi sa isang Alice, maghihintay ka ng damage eh. Hindi mo calculated eh.
Totoo.
Kung i-tap mo eh, alam mo lang magsusurvive ka, but GC magsusurvive pa ba siya dito? Mukhang hindi na. Naku, tinamaan pa nga siya dito ng Void Blast. Oh no! Kelra and company now owning OMG. Dalawa na wala sa side ng OMG. There you go, na super slow pa nga. But Toshi from the back. There you go. Napalaban pa. Renjo magiging main target. Nasa loob ngayon ng EXECRATION. Can Toshi do it? Oh no, Kelra and KelVJ, the double K connection is here. EXECRATION will wipe out Omega.
Nakita natin yung positioning dito ng EXECRATION. Magaling silang pumili ng fight. Nakita nila na maganda yung pagkakalagay dito ng real world manipulation ni Etomax, and that gave them a lot of opportunity. And I saw them earlier na nakakuha siya ng Ice Queen 1 to slow them down.
And TDZ tapos ata. Tapos ata. Kelra and Kiel, ladies and gentlemen. Kalahati dito ngayon ang base. At ngayon napalaban pa ang OMG. Kamuntikan pa. At sa wakas nakita na natin the debut ng bagong partnership. Kaibigan TDZ. Kelra and Kiel. What a combo.
Pakagandang movement dito. The Kelra and KelVJ connection. Talagang alam nila kung sino ipa-prioritize nila when it comes to that fight. But again, another fight na naman. Umalis ka agad ang OMG sa real world manipulation.
Nahihirapan sila sa slow nun eh.
Man. At nakikita mo naman, si KelVJ umaatake na naman. Able to take down the Jawhead out of the play. 2-4-1 exchange.
Ibang klase pare, the sustain. And now nag-overstay ang OMG. Nag-overchase sila. EXECRATION. Again, another late game winning situation na pwedeng mangyari dito. 3 hero ngayon ang buhay sa side ng OMG, pero may revitalize dito ngayon ang side ng Exe. Toshi, he wants to target Chakno. Chakno with the circling eagle in. Matatarget si Toshi dito. Soul Bloom coming in. Toshi, oh my glove. Naging super super sacrifice na lang para lang ma-distract ang Execration, pero mukhang hindi mangyayari yun, TDC, dahil makatuloy pa rin ang Lord Dance natin. Heat right now. There you go, may ma-ejector siya. Pumasok mo lang si Kurt dito. The Uranus, but the Lord will go in the hands of the King. Kelra, papasok na naman. There you have it. Hajizi Polado, at mukhang tapos na. TDC ang laban. Heat na palaban pa. But then again, Kurt, can he manage to survive this? Mukhang hindi.
At ang sakit talaga ng damage dito ng Execration. 4-for-2 exchange. Nakita natin yung fight dito. Again, with the real-world manipulation plus the ultimate here from KelVJ. Huling-huli ka agad. Tinanggal agad nila si Heat out of the picture. At dun sila naging confident na, okay, sige, atin to. Walang unstoppable force, walang ejector. Nakakagalaw agad si Kelra. And also with the mobility na binibigay dito ni Chaknu, mas mabilis mag-reposition dito yung Execration. And that's, I think, the reason why they won that fight.
At mukhang it's game. TDZ, it is Execration with a 2-0 debut dito sa MPL Season 7.
Wow, tol, Execration sobrang init. 2-0 sa Omega. At
hindi ganun kadali patumbahin ang Omega, your M2 representatives. But then again, men, new faces para sa Exe, KelVJ and Kelra. Hindi ko kinakaya, Kuya TDZ, yung excitement. And of course, that winning moment is brought to us by Head and Shoulders. Put your game face on and finally say goodbye to those awkward #itch-a-GG moments. Thanks to Head and Shoulders, 100% dandruff-free and itch-free. Now, mas mabango pa. Wow!
Tol, kasing bango ng Head and Shoulders ang nangyari. At tingin ko talagang cool na cool din ang feeling dito ng Execration after that 2-0 win against Omega. 3 points yun, Tol.
Yeah, 3 points kaagad. And you know what? Last night, nung nakita natin yung news, nagulantang tayo, pare. Pero wow, Execration with the movements. TDZ, maraming salamat para doon sa game 1 na yon. Again, guys, alamin pa natin. I-dissect natin yung laban na yon. Ipasa natin ngayon sa analyst natin.
Thank you so much, casters, and napakaganda ng performance na pinakita ni KelVJ and the gang as they secure their first 2-0. Napakaganda impression na talaga to against all the teams. Welcome back to the analyst desk. My name is Midnight, and we breakdown natin kung paano ba nakuha ng Execration itong napakagandang game ito against Omega. Now, the first thing that we have to take note of is the link of KelVJ. Having no deaths on his performance really shows a lot as he knows what the conditions are for Execration this game. No? Alam niya na ang kailangan niya lang naman gawin dito is survive the early game onslaught of the Jawhead and Eudora of Omega. It's a combo that we've known for quite a while now. It's one of the most destructive early game combos of the tank support, and Omega didn't really have the chance or didn't get the opportunity to abuse that against Execration kasi iniiwasan lang sila, hindi sila nilalabanan, and they played the resource game like what they did on game number 1. And the following post-game statistics are brought to you by Smart, the official tournament telco partner of MPL. Feel free to game great with Smart free games for all. Ito, yung mga stats and yung mga items ng ating mga players for that specific game. I really want to highlight one important aspect of the itemization here of the players. Now, you're gonna see that on KelVJ, actually the king. Si Ling dito, after building up the Demon Hunter Sword and the Endless Battle, went straight for the Malefic Roar and threatened the base of Omega. This allows multiple options. Number 1, it provides a huge amount of damage, and it provides 40% physical penetration as well, plus 20% to tower. So Omega, even though they are very, very tanky with the Jawhead and the Uranus, all he needs to do is take out the Yisunshin and the Hayabusa. Yan lang naman yung mga priority targets ng Execration. Now, Hajizi bought a Wind of Nature after the Endless Battle and the Blade of Despair, pero it was all for naught as the Alice went on to dominate the late game as well alongside the Ling, and that is what made the game easier for Execration. Itemizations are very, very key for these heroes. Now, following post-game, the highlights are brought to you by Smart, official tournament telco partner of MPL. Feel free to game great with Smart. Free games for all. Makikita natin yung mga key points or yung mga turning moments dito for Execration. Again, we have to keep in mind that Omega, they have secured themselves the Jawhead and Eudora, pero Execration, with their moves, with their fantastic decisions and map movements, naiwasan nila yung early game threat ng Omega dito. And again, these following highlights are brought to you by Head & Shoulder. Put your game face on and finally say goodbye to those awkward hashtag itch-a-GG moments thanks to Head & Shoulder. 100% dandruff-free and itch-free. Now, mas mabango pa. And ito yung mga mababangong moments for EXECRATION on that specific game. Again, Omega, they really had the advantage on the early game heroes as they had the Joy and Eudora. They can threaten objectives earlier on. Makikita natin dito sa first turtle fight natin, Omega was really looking really great as the box was established by the Joy and Eudora. But the counterpart is the Eve was able to establish his own territory. If you haven't used Eve yet, it's a very strong hero that can contest objectives from your enemies. Kasi with his ultimate, you can threaten out-positioned heroes. And such as on that turtle fight, they found themselves in a very, very, very good position. Even though Omega sila pa rin nakakuha ng turtle. But that is to be expected. They have the early game lineup. But they don't have enough damage yet to dominate EXECRATION. Kaya pagdating ng mid-game, kinakaya silang labanan ng Mathilda and ng Alice kasi hindi pa rin talaga sapat yung damage output nila against the sustain of the Mathilda and Kelra. Now, fantastic initiations by Jackno actually on the Mathilda, waiting for the dash of the Yi Sun-shin first before committing with Kelra alongside him. Napakagandang mga pasok dito from the Mathilda and the gang. And of course, establish once again the ultimate of Eve. It allows EXECRATION to dominate a certain area or dominate a place wherein Omega cannot really fight. And that allows KLBJ to look for other targets on the back line. Being the Ling, being one of the best assassins in the game, you can look for any outpositioned enemy heroes outside the box that has been already established by the Eve. Makikita nyo rito multiple times, they have been consistently getting pickoffs against Omega. That is why Hajizi, even though he was very, very defensive with his playstyle, he gathered 2 deaths around 14-minute mark. Something that the KDA machine doesn't really do in terms of his gameplay with the Yi Sun-shin. Kasi sobrang playsip ni Haji But with this kind of lineup, napakahirap talaga maglaro ng Yi Sun-shin kasi nai-establish yung box ng kalaban mo and may Ling pa na pwedeng lumabas ng box. So kumbaga isipin nyo, dalawang cellphone yung teritoryo ng EXECRATION pagdating sa teamfights. And after all that, it was just the late game prowess of the Alice and the Ling. The amount of damage and the amount of sustain are there for EXECRATION, and Omega have to bow out against EXECRATION. 2-0 clean score for the gang. That's gonna gather them 3 points. Pero kailangan natin koronahan ang ating MVP. This MVP is brought to you by Smart, the official tournament telco partner of MPL. Break through your own limits, rise above, and be free to game great with free games for all. I'm pretty sure kilala pa rin natin yung magiging MVP natin dito. No? Although napakaraming options sa side ng EXECRATION as they did fantastically well. Napakaraming highlight plays nitong mga players ito. But we have to crown one specific MVP. We're gonna show you in just a bit. There you go. The King, KLBJ on the Ling. KDA of 807. Net worth of 11,127, damage dealt 65,231, and objective damage of 10,978. If you look at the stats, no, sobrang balanced out. The KDA is good, the net worth is overall good, damage dealt is really, really high, specifically when your main job is just to farm, and you're alongside an Alice that primarily deals the damage for your team, but KLBJ didn't really let go of the pedal as he knew that he had the advantage moving on to the late game. And that is EXECRATION taking 2-0 against Omega. Now, we are going to be waiting for the next match, but I'm really excited for future games here in MPL. Casters, back to you.
Napakaraming salamat sa napakagandang analysis. Midnight. TDZ, ang masasabi ko lang, what a way to start off the season.
Tol, ibang klase. Kasi kanina, pinag-usapan natin na bago mag-start yung laro, makakakita tayo ng mga kakaibang draft, mga kakaibang playstyle. Sinurpresa tayo ng Omega with that 4-mage composition.
Yeah.
And also with the Yuzong on top of that from Game 1. Tingin ko, gana siya eh. Okay siyang gumana. Kaso, hindi lang na-counter siya kagad ng last 2 picks dito ng EXECRATION. But let's see kung mag-workout din ba yun sooner or later. And with that Game 2, I was really surprised, Tol. Yung Matilda.
Wow, we're all surprised. We're all surprised. But then again, before anything else, MPL Philippines Season 7 is presented by our official tournament telco partner, Smart. Free to game great with Smart. Free games for all. Bago ang mga nakita natin with that game, bagong season, bagong history. Ako po pala si Manjun Faldas at eto si TDZ. Huwag kayong aalis, guys. Nako, ang next match